Welcome. In the previous lecture we talked about the cell cycle. Now this cell cycle is followed by cell division. Cell division can be of three types. The first is amitosis, mitosis and meiosis. Now in this lecture we will focus on the first two. We will cover meiosis in a separate session. Now let's first start with amitosis, which is the most simple of these. Amitosis is known as direct cell division. Mitosis and meiosis both are known as indirect cell division. Now this direct cell division was given by Remak and was later on explained by Fleming. Here the chromosomes are not differentiated and there is no spindle formation that occurs. So what happens is basically you have the nucleus within the cell. So this nuclear kind of elongates within the cell and finally breaks up. So you have two cells each with a separate nucleus. It is commonly seen in Monera, also common in the various disease cells that it is seen. Now we will focus on to the next, which is the most important one, that is the mitosis. Now when we start with mitosis, let's first have a quick recap of what we did in the last class, and that was the cell cycle. Under the cell cycle we saw that you have, let's talk about human cell, where you have 24 hours as the time period for cell division. Out of this 24 hours, 23 hours is dedicated to the phase which is known as interphase, that is G1, S and G2 phase, and only 1 hour goes to the mitosis, and today what we will be focusing on is that 1 hour of cell division. Now under G1 stage we saw you have the protein synthesis that happens. Under S phase you have DNA replication that occurs, and finally in G2 phase again you have protein synthesis, but that is mainly for the plasma membrane formation. And under the M phase or the mitotic phase you have the two basic stages which are known as chirokinesis and cytokinesis. So let's first understand the cell division. So if I draw a chart here, I can say the cell cycle can be divided into interphase and mitotic phase, that is the M phase. Interphase we have already covered. This M phase can further be divided into chirogenesis or chirokinesis and cytogenesis. Under chirokinesis we talk about division of nucleus, and under cytogenesis we talk about division of cytoplasm. Now chirogenesis occurs first, which is followed by cytogenesis. Under chirogenesis the best way to remember is a mnemonic, that is PPMAT, that is prophase, pro-metaphase, then you have the metaphase, anaphase, and finally the telophase. Now this cytogenesis starts somewhere during the late anaphase or the telophase and continues till the time you have the cytoplasm that is divided completely. Now all these 5 stages we would be focusing in today's lecture. A brief summary of this to help you remember and understand the concept right now is, you have under the interphase what happened was you have the chromosome that were formed. Under prophase you have doubling of the chromosome that occurs. Under pro-metaphase you have microtubules that are formed. So pro, meta and M for micro. So microtubules formed. Under metaphase, M for meta, M for middle. So you would have all the chromosomes that will align at the middle, that's the equator. Under the anaphase, A for ana, A for away. So you would have the chromosomes that would move away. So you have movement towards the pole that would occur. And finally telo, T for telo and T for 2. So you have two daughter cells that are finally divided. So this is a basic format to help you remember the various stages under mitotic division. Now if we look on to the animation that we have used in the previous class, you have during the interphase you have the cell size that grows up, and finally in the mitotic phase you have the division that occurs, and from one cell you have two cells that are formed, and these two daughter cells carry the identical information. Now the first and the foremost thing that is important about mitotic division is this commonly occurs in somatic cells. It sometimes also occurs in germ cells. The term mitosis itself explains mitos plus osis. Mitos means thread and osis means stage. So it's the stage where you have the thread formation that we'll see during the prophase. Now this prophase is again divided into the three stages that we'll see further. Now this mitosis was given by different scientists. So mitosis was explained in plants by Strasburger and in animals by Fleming, and finally it was Fleming who coined the term mitosis. So this is some of the basic information we'll provide you about mitosis. Now moving on to the various stages that we will discuss today. So as we said, these are some of the highlights that we have covered. Also one more important thing, mitosis is also known as equational division. So you have a kind of division that is equal for both the daughter cells, and you have the same information that is carried. Now we'll focus on the different stages. Now as we said, interphase we have already covered. So you have the G1S and the G2 phases that we have already covered. Now let's focus on to the next stage, that is prophase. Now this prophase can further be divided into three stages: the early prophase, middle prophase and late prophase. So let's start with the early prophase. What happens during the early prophase is you have the nuclear membrane that dissociates, the endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus that starts to dissociate. Now all the chromosomes that are present would be wool-like, and therefore this stage is also known as sperring stage. So you have the chromosome that would appear as a ball of wool. Again, during this stage you have the DNA that starts to elongate. So you would have a kind of condensation of the DNA that takes place and elongation of the chromosomes that start. Again you have scaffolding and spiralization that takes place for the DNA, and with this spiralization you have the ball-like structure that would be present, and that would be known as sperring stage. So that's the first stage or the early prophase. Now what happens during the middle prophase? During the early prophase, again you have centromeres that are formed, and these centromeres try to kind of move apart or move away slowly and gradually. During the middle prophase, you have interzonal fibers that occur. So these interzonal fibers, you have the centromere that is here, and you have the chromosomes, and within these you have the interzonal fiber that occurs. During the late prophase, you have towards this centriole you have ester rays that are formed, and whole of this complex, so you have centriole plus the estral rays together will form the ester, and this is commonly seen in animal cells. So we call it as amphiestral. However, under plant cell, you do not have this ester formation, and we call it as anestral. So this anestral plant cells are usually acentric. However, the animal cells are centric shaped. So that's again one important concept. During the middle phase, as we said, you have interzonal fibers that start. The chromosome starts to reduce in the size and becomes nearly 1/25 of the original size in the middle prophase. You have each chromosome which elongates and forms the chromatid. So you have chromatid fibers for each of the chromosome that is seen here. During the late prophase, as we said, you have the estral complex that starts to develop. This is seen in the animal cell and it does not exist in the plant cell. You have movement that occurs towards the towards the periphery. So these try to move apart, and you have the intrazonal fibers that exist within the two regions. So you have the interzonal fibers that start to develop in this stage and which further mature in the stage of late prophase, and because of these interzonal fibers and the thread like structures that exist, we also call this as the mitosis, as the name derived we saw in the starting. So mitosis is the thread stage. So these are the threads that appear, and they would be there till the stage of anaphase. Now this is the basic idea for the stage of prophase. The next stage to the prophase is prometaphase. Under prometaphase, you have microtubules that start to appear. Now these microtubules, you have 4 to 20 microtubules that are present. Each microtubule is rich in, you have protein, it's mainly protein based with 3 to 4% of RNA content. So you have spindle formations that occur in the prophase, and you have microtubules that occur. These microtubules, which with the spindle fiber together constitute predominantly the protein portion. Again, you have the astral rays that further develop during the prometaphase. You have the dissolution of the nucleus that takes place, and this is the basic idea at the prometaphase. Again, you have all the chromosomes that start moving towards the equatorial side. So you have movement towards the equator. As a result, the diameter is maximum at the equator. You have negative values or the negative ends that occur towards the poles. So you have the cell, okay, you have the negative values towards the pole, and towards the center you have the positive ends of each of the chromosomal fibers that could be seen here. So negative ends towards the pole, positive ends towards the equator and the center. They try to come closer to the center during the prometaphase, which is a preparatory phase for the metaphase to start. And finally you have the spindle formation that occurs inside the nucleus. If it is the case, we call it intranuclear. If it is not inside the nucleus and it occurs when you have the nuclear membrane that degenerates, you call it eumitosis, or you call it the extranuclear mitosis process. The next is metaphase. Now a very important question for metaphase here is, metaphase is considered as the best stage to count the number of chromosomes and to study the morphology of the chromosome. So it is considered as the best stage. So that's a very important question from a MCQ point of MCQ perspective. So you have metaphase as the best stage. Now during the metaphase, what happens? During the metaphase, you have the chromosomes that align towards the equator, and this movement towards the equator is known as congregation. So you have the arrangement of the chromosomes that occur towards the equator. So these are the chromosomes and these are the poles. So you have all of these aligned towards the equatorial region. And finally, it's again important, the small ones align towards the center and the large one move towards the corners. So bigger ones towards the corners and smaller ones towards the center, and this would be the arrangement during the stage of metaphase. The next to the metaphase is the stage which is known as anaphase. Now anaphase can again be divided into anaphase A and anaphase B. Anaphase A is also known as the early anaphase stage, and anaphase B is also known as the late anaphase stage. Now what happens during the early anaphase stage? Early anaphase stage, you have the chromosomes that are slowly and gradually pulled apart. Now these chromosomes are attached to the kinetochore fibers. So you have the kinetochore fibers that attach the chromosomes to the mid. During anaphase, they start to move towards the opposite poles. So during the early anaphase, you have the two chromatids that start to repel. However, during the late anaphase, you have nearly the complete movement that occurs towards the polar regions or towards the periphery. So you have near movement towards the periphery, and it is during the late anaphase that you start with the process of cytogenesis or the formation of cytoplasma that starts with the late anaphase. Now again, during the early anaphase, this alignment can be in various shapes. So if it is the alignment in this shape, we call it as V-shaped, and this is known as metacentric. Then you have the alignment which is L-shaped, and this is known as submetacentric. Then you have the alignment which is J-shaped, and this is known as the acrocentric. And finally you have the I-shaped alignment, and that is known as the telocentric. So these alignments are based on the various alphabets, and you name them as metacentric, submetacentric, acrocentric, and finally the telocentric. And these alignments or these arrangement occurs during the early anaphase stage. Now as we said, during the late anaphase they start to move towards the pole, and finally towards the telophase stage you have the separation towards the either poles, and finally you would have a small furrow or a small cleavage that would be formed, and this cleavage would increase, and you would have two separate cells that would be formed during the process of cytokinesis. Now this telophase or the cytogenesis which starts during the telophase is different for the plant cell and the animal cell. In plant cell the method is formation of cell plate. However, during the process for the animal cell, it is cleavage. So you have the furrow formation that occurs, and slowly and gradually that furrow deepens, and you have two separate cells. However, for plant cells you have cell plates that are formed, and these are known as phragmoplast. And these phragmoplast, finally you have two cells with two different cell walls, and you have a cell plate that is formed in between. Now what is the difference between the cytokinesis process that happens in a plant cell and an animal cell? Now these differences are very important. So let's first understand what is the basic method of cytokinesis in plant cell. So cytokinesis, we will be talking about plant cell versus the animal cell. So in animal cell we said the main method is cleavage method. Here you have cell plate method that is formed. As a result, since it is cleavage method, you would have the mid body that would be formed, and it would be a dense fibrous nuclei that would occur. However, here it will be phragmoplast that would be formed. Again, the plant cell, you would have the cell membrane that would be derived from the Golgi apparatus. In case of animal cell, the cell membrane would be derived from the endoplasmic reticulum. That is again one of the major difference. Again in plant cell, you would have the centrifugal arrangement that would be seen. However, here it would be centripetal formations. So that would be moving towards the center. However, in centrifugal you would have movement away from the center. So in plant cell you would have centrifugal arrangement. However, in animal cell you would have centripetal arrangement. So these are the key differences in the cytokinesis process that occurs between plant cell and animal cell. Now moving on to the next important concept is the difference between the plant's mitosis and the animal mitosis. Now as we said, these occur in the somatic cells or the germ cells. So in plants it occurs mainly in the meristem. So you have the root tips, the shoot tips, you have the division by means of mitosis. So it's mainly in the meristem region. In animal cells it's at many places that it occurs. In plant cell it is promoted by cytokinin. In animal cell you have lymphokinin or epidermal growth factors, the EDFs that affect the mitosis process. Plant mitosis, there is no change in the shape. However, here it becomes spherical in shape. Again, you have no spindle formation that occurs in plant cell, so you call it anastral or acentric. However, there is a spindle formation that occurs in animal cell, so you call it amphiastral or centric. There is no centriole that occurs in plant cell. So you have spindle poles that possess the centrioles, and you see that in the animal mitosis. Again, you have the phragmoplast that is formed, that is in the plant cell, that is due to the cell plate method. However, here you have mid body formation by the process of cleavage. As we said, that is again covered in the next point. Again, the cell plate grows centrifugally, as we saw in the previous section, but here the cell plate grows centripetally. There is microfilament which is not important in plant cells, but it is very important in case of animal mitosis, and therefore you have a separate stage of prometaphase. Again, you have the cell plate that cements the daughter cells. However, in case of animal mitosis, you have the cleavage that creates the intercellular space between the daughter cells. Now, what is the significance of mitosis? Mitosis is predominantly used for growth, repair, regeneration of old cells, maintenance of the surface volume ratio. It maintains the number of chromosomes, and it kinds of leads to differentiation by producing more. Again, an example or a deviation of mitosis would be the cancer cells, where you have the uncontrolled growth of mitotic division, and in this, specifically in cancer cell, you have the division stage that is much greater than the growth stage in comparison to the other cells, where we see the growth stage or the interphase which is much bigger or much longer, I would say, as compared to the M phase or the division phase. So in normal cells you have interphase which is greater than the M phase. However, in cancer cells you have uncontrolled division, and you have the M phase that becomes much more greater or pronounced than the interphase. So with this we covered mitosis. In the next class we will be covering the topic of meiosis. You can subscribe to our channel for further updates. Have a good day.